Hello, everyone. Okay. It's a true honor to be here. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Swice, for the opportunity of letting me fill in, and Stephanie and the Scleroderma Foundation. It is truly an honor to be here because, yes, I was very, very sick, and many people who read about my story, because I've published a book on it, I'm out there speaking, they look at me and say, there's no way you're that girl. And it's just amazing, and I have chills every time I say it, because anything is possible. So I want you to walk away today from all this hope, not only medically of what's going on, but we're going to talk about treating the inside. Because when you are spiritually lifted, when your heart is there and you have that hope and you hold on, you're giving like a lot more power to the wonderful medicines they're bringing you. The two go hand in hand. And Dr. Swice and I, we have partnered up to help patients. And because I used to be the one in the hospital bed, and she was the doctor there treating me. But I was really touched when she reached out to me to speak here, because she didn't even know this, but I lost a close friend to scleroderma. And she was in her 30s. She had a 4-year-old child she left behind. And I was very much in the battle myself when I went to her funeral. And I was just there going, God, why is it her instead of me? Even though I wasn't fighting scleroderma, I know what that's like. So I would like to just take a moment to have a moment of silence for her and everyone that we've ever lost to this disease, and just put out there our hopes to get a cure so we don't lose many more. So I'd like to take just a moment. Okay, and again, I just want to thank you all for coming. I know many of you probably aren't feeling well and maybe got up today and didn't know if you can make it here, but you still came, and I just want to thank you for that. And just like Dr. Zachary, I probably will not stick to this. I usually try not to do slides because I just go with whatever the flow is in my heart, so just bear with me. I have friends that are like, no, you have to stick to this, but that's not who I am, so I just ask that you're patient with me. I'd like to talk about, my diagnosis came when I was 24 years old. And it was out of nowhere. And what my diagnosis actually ended up umbrelling under a lot of things like lupus, but not exact. So it presented after shaving my legs. I had spots that I now are purpura all over my legs. I had broken every blood vessel just by shaving. My platelets, which clot your blood, were 7,000. And their normal is, as you can see, up to 150,000 to 400,000. So I was at the risk of internally hemorrhaging at any time. Now that was something at 24 years old to go in and think that you have a rash, that you're allergic to something, to find out your blood counts are critical. And at that moment, I didn't realize, but I started losing sight of myself in the disease. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. When they were talking like the diagnosis, I'm sure many of you know, you are way more familiar with medical terms that you really had no idea before what it was, but you can talk probably a pretty good language in the medical field. And I went through many treatments. I failed treatment after treatment. Now, what I want to talk about with Dr. Swice and how that happened, I had gone through a whole lot. I had found myself, every treatment, we would try it and I would fail it again. And the doctors are like, you're always in that percentage. And I'm like, I know, that's been my whole life. If there was a dark cloud, it was over my head. But you know what, there was always the silver lining that I would look for. I ended up, after going through much, I ended up getting pregnant, having a wonderful son. That was a miracle. Getting through all that, and then deciding, finally, starting to get through where I'm learning to live with the disease. I ended up getting worse. I got hemolytic anemia. So on top of my body killing my platelets, it was coming in and killing my red cells. So all of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. So many of you that fight the lung thing, I get that. Like all of a sudden I felt like a fish out of water. I could not get a breath in. I would get up out of bed, I couldn't even walk to the bathroom because I could not get that air in. So things just started getting worse. They couldn't find treatments for me. They would always find something else. I had like negative serum antiphospholipid. I had the ITP, I had hemolytic anemia. Well, I got to a point where like I said, everything was just going downhill. One night I got so sick, I couldn't breathe. They kept putting me in the hospital. I was blessed with many miracles going along the way. But I got to a point, I just didn't have the energy to go on anymore. And I sat my family down and I had to look at my little boy and tell him, it's okay. if Mom goes to heaven, please have peace with this. I did not have the energy. I gave up. And I was like, I was done. I had fought this disease for 5 years, and there was nothing. I kept holding on to hope, and then I hit that point. And then I had a dream. And in that dream was an angel that came to me that I knew was going to be bringing healing. She was short, petite, dark hair, dark eyes, thick accent. And and it was just so real. I told my dad and I are very close, and I told my dad about this dream. And I said, I have to keep fighting. I cannot give up. I cannot give up yet. So I did. I'm like, that dream gave me hope. I held on. I knew this angel was coming. So I ended up going through quite a challenge where all of a sudden I woke up at midnight and it felt like my muscles were being ripped off of my bones. The most excruciating pain that you could ever imagine. By ambulance, went to the hospital. They didn't know what was going on. It was at University of Chicago, actually. I had a team of doctors on me, everyone rotating through, not knowing what is going on with this rare case, putting me through MRIs, all kinds of stuff. And I still held hope. I just kept holding on to hope. My dad was there as I'm just laying there in the pain. Even with the pain medicine, still the pain was getting through, and I'm just crying. But I'm holding on to the hope of this angel. So I hear a rustling of papers outside of my hospital room, and in walks this woman. And I look at her, and I'm like, and my dad goes, that's her. I'm like, it's her, it's her. It's literally her. So I'm just looking, and I'm like, oh. And so she walks over. I have chills running through me right now. She walks over to my bed, and then she starts talking, and I'm like, it's the same accent. And I look at her, and I said, I am so sorry. Hold on, I need to get a drink of water. I get so excited. All right. So I look at her, and I'm like, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, because she was just sharing she was going to do this certain thing. And I said, you were my angel. You were sent to heal me. And she just smiled. And I remember looking at her, I'm like, I knew at that moment. And sure enough, and I asked her, I said, and I don't think I've ever asked another doctor this question, but it was on my heart. And I said, where are you from? And she said, I'm from Jordan. She's from the Holy Land, of all places. And she brought treatments that were not the same thing as what Dr. Zachary was saying. No medical reason at all that you should be using it in my rare case, but I had no other hope. Every treatment had failed. So I'm like, there's something that has to happen, and sure enough, she brought me treatments that gave me my life back, and not only that, now has given me the ability to get out there and to tell people facing diseases and different things. It doesn't matter it's an illness. And yeah, I didn't have scleroderma, but I had those autoimmune diseases, and many of them, and they were trying to take my life. But now I can be here to speak and encourage and try to help. So I just want to say you truly do have an angel here, an angel of hope, Dr. Swice. So the biggest thing, again, I don't want you to lose sight of yourself and the disease. And I know there's loved ones here with people that are fighting the illness. And it's important for you as well to keep life as normal as you can. Like, you do want to have the balance, but it's like, it really started getting me down when people, like, every time they would talk to me, it meant a lot to me that they cared so much. Like, how are you feeling? What's going on? But it was like, after a while, I'm like, I'm still here. And you can easily lose sight of yourself in that diagnosis. And I just want to encourage you, please don't, because you're still the beautiful person that you always were. That did not change the moment you got a diagnosis. And that's just so important. And for you that are there supporting, I know it isn't easy to be on the other side, to be supporting someone you love that's ill, but try and find that balance. Have that compassion and care, but please do everything to try and still laugh, still make things normal. Because it's like we need to still go on with life. And we need to do it the best that we can. And yes, the whole why me's thing, I went through that. I was like, why me? Out of all the people, why me? I would go and I would have blood count after blood count, hoping that this one was going to show that my blood counts were right. And they weren't. And it was like I ended up getting to that pit for a while where I just got sucked down into the why me, feeling sorry. But then I thought, you know what? I need to look at this differently. I need to embrace what I'm giving. I need to have hope that there is something that's going to help me. I need to be able to fight through this and know that my story is very specific for a reason, just as yours is. There is a set number of hearts in this world that you are meant to touch by your story. Whether you're fighting illness or it's just the way that you ended up going to college and the people that you met, we all have a story. And I just want to encourage you to know that you have a very important story, especially those that are fighting through illness. It's amazing the things that happen where there are little miracles all around that you just need to open up your heart to. And there truly is always a silver lining. You just have to look for it. And this is an example, one of the prints. I do inspirational prints now, and I really want to try and fill the hospitals with them and donate them as much as I can, because when you're a patient, you need to walk in and see those things on the walls that are going to give you a little bit of hope, that are going to refocus you, because you don't know what you're going to face when you get into that patient room. And when you have doctors like this with wonderful hearts, it's great. Every one of them that spoke today, you can feel their hearts, and that's what is wonderful. When you can partner with a doctor that truly cares, and they're going to do whatever it takes to make you better, that is the team you want. And this team of doctors is phenomenal. I'm just very honored to be up here speaking with their likes. Okay, now what we're going to talk, just a couple different things. When you're in a disease, a lot of times it's like all about you. And it's like maybe for a time in your life you think, yeah, you want that. You want everything about you, because sometimes people need that. They feel like they're insignificant, or that they just, no one even notices them. But all of a sudden you get to a point you're like, yeah, I don't really want all this attention. I just want to be me again. Well, things that will help you is literally listen to someone else. Instead of letting someone always, they're sitting there, tell me about your problems. Say, no, I want to hear about yours. And again, the loved ones that are there supporting those that are fighting the illness, it's important you still talk with them and let them know, gosh, I'm having a hard time with this, because it's going to help them in their journey. It's going to help them still feel important. It's going to help them bring forward love and kindness, because it's like there's something about each and every human heart, and I don't care what our culture and religious beliefs are. We are programmed to love and to be loved. And when we're able to give that kind and loveness out, it heals. It heals inside. So give them the opportunity, even if they're fighting the disease. I know you may want to go, oh, I don't want to put any more on them, but you know what? My biggest blessings were when I could reach out and help people from that hospital bed. Laughing is very important. A lot of times I laugh at myself. My kids will tell you that, Mom, you think you're so funny. I'm like, I know, someone has to. I mean, we just have to, laughter is important. So we want to make sure that we're going to do things that are going to lift our spirits. You want to learn from your mistakes. Just because you're fighting a disease doesn't mean you're not still human. It doesn't mean you're not still going to make mistakes, but you want to learn from them. You want to grow from them. I don't want you sitting there feeling guilty, like, what did I do to get me in this position? It's like, there's a reason you're going through what you're going through. But you know what? If you didn't have the strength inside and there wasn't a specific story for you, you wouldn't be going through it. So it's like, just hang on and know that there is a story there. And every day, it's like you may have a down day. And it's okay, but don't live there. Don't live in that down day. Every day, you're given another day that you can wake up and you can breathe, and it's a new day. So it's like you don't want to, Dr. Zachary and I were talking, it's like you don't want to look at the past. You learn from it, but you don't want to focus. You don't want to sit there and live there. If you live in the past and also if you're looking so far in the future, you're going to miss the day. You're going to miss right now. What is it you're to embrace today? What is it that you can take away? What's the gift today? Because guess what? Every day is a gift. And I learned that. I learned that when I was in that bed, and I didn't know how many days I'd have left. And you know what? I remember when my baby was born, and his platelets were low, and I cried and cried, because I'm like, oh, please, God, no. Don't let him have what I have. Like, just please. And I just remember the middle of the nights, rockings and feedings with him, and just being so thankful that I had this precious life, despite my disease and how risky it was. I still had this miracle. And I remember praying with him and saying, could I have just 3 years with him? 3 years. So he will have a chance of knowing his mother. And my baby is going to be turning 20 this year. So, yes, it's like, and that's what I'm saying. I just want you, and you know what? And it's amazing, and that's why I don't want you to ever give up hope, because there is always hope you never know what can come. There could be a cure right around the corner. And the other thing too, live to help others. That is important, because it's like if it's all about you, you're not out there helping others. And you know what? Even if you're not feeling well, there's something that you could do. Maybe you write a blog. Like, I didn't know that I was impacting people when I was going through what I was going through. I had a bunch of friends, and they were asking for updates. So I began an update list, and I started sending out an email. Well, I started getting emails back from people thanking me because they're like, wow, I'm facing diabetes and it's nothing compared to what you're going through, and you're inspiring me. So guess what? Use your story, start a blog, write emails, get them out there, share what you're feeling. It'll impact people. It's gonna end up blessing you. I want you to open up to each other. This is not anything like, it's okay to open up and to share what you're going through. It's what allows humans to interact. And in the technology we have today, a lot of times we're missing that piece. We're missing the human point where we actually open up and we say, wow, I'm having a day like this, or here today's great. But don't be afraid to open up to each other and share your story. You want to offer to help someone, especially those that are going through, maybe you're in a support group, but maybe you come to someone else's side that's having a day and you're there for each other. Optimistic. I've always been, thank goodness, except for the why me stage, I was that girl that was out looking for the good in everything. I was the one that had like the Miss Mental Attitude Awards in basketball. Yes, little short me played basketball. But in different things, it's just making sure we look at the good in things. And you're going to overcome those storms in life, but more importantly, you're going to also help other people. You're going to help other people get through theirs. You want to value others. This is one thing like I already knew, but I really came to grasp it more when I was staring death in the face so many times. You value life, not just for yourself, but the people around you. People that maybe you were looking past or you were like, oh, getting frustrated. You know what? All of a sudden, you realize and you're grateful and you're thankful. So just value others. Be full of animation and spirit. Try not to let it weigh on you too much. The victory, this is what's important. It really isn't about the final score, but it's what are you doing in the race? Like, how is it that you're running this race? What's your attitude throughout it? Because your attitude and where you're going with your spirit is what's going to impact and actually help you in your healing. It will absolutely help. And then the speaking positive words. I learned that it's like people don't realize the impact of what words can play on people. And it's like you can speak life into people or you can speak death into people each and every day. And so it's like I found that even when I was like not feeling well, it gave me no right to be, to say anything. Like sometimes I might say something that was hurtful to someone, and I just want to encourage you to be mindful of the words you're speaking, especially those that are there caring for you. And it's like, just try and speak positive words. Okay, and you're going to endure when others quit the race. You're going to keep going. You need to end the negative thinking and speaking. You want to encourage others and bring them hope. And you want to extend a helping hand to someone else. And why does it help? Because love and positivity does bring healing to the soul. Now, have you ever had that person that they just walk into a room? What is that?
It's lovely.
Oh. Anyway, you have someone walk into the room and they light up the room. I want to encourage you to be that person. Because it really is in control of you. Every day, we all get up. It doesn't matter what our title is. It doesn't matter what initials we have. We all get up. We put our pants on the same way. We all have a heart that beats. And it's like when we get out of bed every day, we have a choice of what kind of day that's going to be. It's really up to us. So I learned it's a lot better being on the positive side than it was living in all that gloom and doom all the time. It was just, it's make a choice every day to be positive. So you can shine bright. Love ignites goodness, hopefulness, and thankfulness. What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing. So, oh, it's a fire alarm? Okay. Shine bright by the way that you think, you speak, and you live. And this is what's important, and I forgot to bring the sunglass thing, but I usually do sunglasses. I have this thing where you have to understand the way we see things. When you're looking at things, if you're constantly looking at the negative and the darkness, guess what's going to be filled inside? Your soul's just going to feel heavy. It's going to be, all you're looking at is the bad. So what I would do is I would take different things. Like let's say that you're angry about something, and I have like red sunglasses you could put on, right? So you're angry, you're putting these on. Then there's something that makes you blue, like you're sad. So then I would take this blue sunglasses, and I go to take the red ones off, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't get rid of that anger yet. So now I layer on the blue. So I have two on. So the next one, let's say green, let's say you're jealous of something. So then I would, again, add them on. Well, I have, believe it or not, 7 pair of sunglasses, all different colors with different things. And I put them on, and not only do I look pretty ridiculous, but it's literally complete darkness. You can't see out of them. So the point is, would you ever wear 7 pair of sunglasses? No. But we don't think twice about doing that with our heart. We layer all that stuff on. So I want to encourage you to walk through, deal with what you're doing, and a lot of the way that you can deal with things is when the way that you perceive things. And here's how my dad would explain it. He would always say, he would tell me, if the world could see through your eyes, it would be a different place. And he would describe it, he said, if you can imagine an old broken down house, windows broken, weeds everywhere, people would just see the value, like bringing down the value of the neighborhood. And he said, but you would always find the flower, always. And so it's like there's a flower peeking through, and it is there. I promise you it's there, and you will notice it. As you start looking for it, you're going to see a difference, and you're going to see a difference in your life, and you're going to see a difference in your healing. Because when you're treating the soul and you're working with wonderful doctors that are treating the body, that combination, it works. And that's what I hope more and more hospitals get this, and they start bringing in and lifting the spirits of patients, because we know what it's like to get there, and you don't have hope, and you need someone to say, hang on. I don't care what the medical studies say, hang on. We're going to get through this. We're going to do the best we can. It changes everything. Okay, so this is why it's so important. Your perception truly does become your reality. It becomes your belief. It becomes your life. And you know what? For me personally, I believed that there was a plan for me. And I hung on, and I knew there was something going on. I knew something bigger than me was going to get me through and had a plan. And there's a plan for you. So I want you to hold on to that hope. Okay, and here was just an example. So what is it that... and this is very true too. So think about not only how it's impacting yourself, but let's say you're wearing those blue sunglasses, and then somebody comes to you and says, oh, I just need a friend. I need to talk with you. Would you mind listening? What kind of advice are you going to be giving that person? Through blue sunglasses. You're going to be looking through those sad eyes, or maybe you're angry about something. And so instead of actually being able to be there and truly just listen or give them some positive support, you're going to be passing on that negativity to them. So imagine what the world around you, not just for yourself, but even in the people you impact, it's going to end up increasing the positivity. So not only for yourself, but for the world. And one thing that's coming to me is an inspirational print that I have, and it's a ripple. And we've all heard of the ripple effect, but really think about that every day. What you start, that rock you throw, you could end up impacting multiple lives. So you decide to walk out there and extend that kindness, extend that positivity. You've just impacted that life in a positive way. Now they have a chance of going and impacting another and another and another. So you have the power inside of you to truly make a difference, not only in your own life, but in the life around you. And I think that was it. See, I don't do so good with slides, so I'm sorry. I would rather just have talked about it. But again, the gist of it is that I want you to hold on to hope. I want you to know that your perspective is critical. I want you to not be afraid to talk to your doctors. If there's something, because Dr. Swice, the one treatment she had, I had the other treatment. Actually, someone came to me about a therapy that I wanted and knew I was supposed to do, and my other doctor would not approve it because there was no testing and nothing to prove it or back it. But I said to her, would you give me a chance? Because all I have to lose is my life here. And it's like, and I was willing. And so anyway, that I don't want you to be afraid. If there's something in your heart, talk to your doctors. They may say no, but you don't go home having that pulling feeling in your heart saying, I wish I would have said something, or feeling like you can't express yourself. Your doctors are there to help you. You partner together and do everything to bring the healing to the highest level that you can. And I'll stop there, but thank you for letting me speak and giving me an opportunity.